Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today on Pop Culture Pantheons, we'll be exploring the adventures of Marvel's Hercules and his entry into the Marvel Universe. And we have Paul Dale Roberts here with us today, and we have Donny Cho here with us today. And they will be sharing their insights into this ancient lore to see what lessons we can extract that can help us live more heroic lives. So we will start with Paul, who, even though he's not into comic books these days, was a big comic book fan for very many years, and I'm sure has a lot of insight to offer.
Yeah, I love comic books, and if I had more time, I would definitely be reading them. Hercules definitely needs to go into the team of the Avengers because he's a very powerful Simon God, um, and he's fought with Thor, and he maintained his fighting abilities with Thor. Yeah, he's just a great superhero, and he's been around for a long, long time.
Well, he's been in the Avengers for a long, long time too.
Oh yes, yes.
He was in Avengers
Yeah.
number 10, even though it was like a different version of Hercules, and it turned out to have been a minion of Immortus. But then he entered the Marvel Universe in Avengers number 30 something, 38.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you
yeah,
have the
let's see
original? Wow.
that. Let's see
No,
that.
this is a they printed them out into color booklets now. They used to have them in black and white
Yeah.
booklets, but now they came out with colored booklets recently. So I bought the first uh, volume 1 and volume 4, which were the entries of Hercules into the saga.
Well, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in both the Immortus story and in his final entry with the Avengers, the sorceress or the enchantress and the destroyer or the executioner, that's what his name was. They were in both of these stories. So I'm looking forward to rereading all of these now that I have them handy and seeing what details I pick up. Donnie, do you remember any of the details of these stories?
I know he had a brief cup of coffee in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in a bunch of different teams, right? He would kind of bounce around in different teams. He was in the Champions. He was in the Avengers. I think he was in the what? No, I think I'm confusing him with Wonder Man, the West Coast Avengers.
Well, he
Uh,
went out west and he started
yeah,
the champions out west when he went out west. And yeah, you're right. He was in the champions. He was in the Avengers. He was in Heroes for Hire briefly. He
oh
was
yeah, I
Guardians
remember
of the
that.
Galaxy. He was in
Yeah,
a bunch of different things.
He was with Heroes with Hire for Hire.
Yeah,
Hero-
briefly.
yeah,
Huh.
Heroes for Hire.
I
I
remember
didn't know that.
questing for those issues. He was only in for, I think, 1 to 3 issues. I don't remember exactly how many, but there weren't that many of them. I went buying the whole run, and I just needed the issues that he was in. So,
So growing up, my favorite character in the whole Marvel universe, growing up since I was like probably 3 years old, was the Incredible Hulk.
mhm.
He was always my favorite. Like to this day, he's my favorite comic book character. I was always, even as like in elementary school, I was loyal to the Hulk. When I was 3 years old, okay, my parents told me this story. This was 1983, and my parents had just moved to the U.S. from Canada, and they had the TV on, and they remembered the 1970s show
With Lou Ferrigno as the
with Lou
Hulk?
Ferrigno.
Yes, of course.
And me as a toddler, when the Hulk came on, I would scream and cry because it was like so scary. It was like a monster, and my parents thought it was the most hilarious thing. But I vaguely remember seeing the Hulk and being all scared and screaming and crying. I don't know why, but I think because of that moment in my early childhood, then when I was 5, the cartoon came out, and I kind of remembered that that was the same guy that made me scream and cry as a toddler. Ever since then, and then my comic book obsession got real serious at like late elementary school. It was always the Hulk.
Donnie, do you remember like with the TV show The Hulk?
Yeah.
Um, who is the actor? The What's his name
Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. Bill
Yeah,
Bixby.
Bill Bixby. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Bixby would say, "You don't want to see me get mad.
Yeah.
Want to see me get mad," and I would be all excited because I knew if he got mad, he was going to turn into the Hulk. And then they always did at the very end, where Hulk is walking, not Hulk, Bill Bixby is walking down the street by himself,
Yeah.
and they
David
always
Banner.
and they played the sad
Yeah, they
music.
play that sad piano music. Oh yeah. That's iconic, man. Everyone recognizes that tune. But yeah, because of my obsession with the Hulk and because of that show, right?
Mm-hmm.
So going into other Marvel comics, I was always like, whenever there were like teams, right? Like the X-Men, like I always gravitated towards like the bruiser, the strong one, right? The powerhouse, right? So in the X-Men, you had Colossus, like in the Fantastic Four, you had the Thing, right? West Coast Avengers, you had like Wonder Man and guys like Luke Cage, who are primarily just super strength.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the guys I kind of gravitated towards. So when you had someone like Hercules, I remember growing up reading him in the comic books. He was always the strong guy, but he had personality. You know, he was always like kind of cheerful, kind of silly sometimes, kind of goofy, lots of confidence. He wasn't like brooding. He wasn't filled with, I don't know, like just angst. Like all the other strong characters, they're always like unhappy at the fact that they're like the brute, right? Thing is self-conscious because he's like made out of rocks. The Hulk hates everybody, everyone hates the Hulk, right? But then you got happy-go-lucky Hercules. He was just like, yeah, I'm strong, I own it. You know what I mean?
He considered it a gift. He used to call
Yeah,
his battles him giving the gift to somebody.
he was always so cheerful. I remember that about him.
That's what I like about the Marvel Hercules. Also, the fact that he had a gusto for life. And
Yeah.
Hercules movies, one of the actors, Alan Steele, he wasn't the biggest Hercules like Reg Park. Reg Park was huge.
Hmm.
The Rock was huge when he was Hercules, but um, he had the greatest zest for
Yeah.
life. You know, he really got into the role. You could see he enjoyed being Hercules in every gesture that he made. And I saw the same thing in the Marvel Hercules, that he really delighted in being who he was. There wasn't that existential angst. He's a god. He's here to have a great time.
Yeah.
He often does.
Yeah.
How many movies has Hercules in it?
Oh,
Oh my God. I got
hundred.
it. You know what? We need to ask AI that question because there's no way. I'm going to ask it right now.
Okay.
Okay. And I remember there was a comic book that I picked up. It wasn't Marvel. It could have been DC, but Hercules had red hair. And I go, wow, why does he have red hair? And it really confused me because I was a young lad and I didn't understand. But now I look at it and I say, oh, it was a variant.
Yeah, there were a lot of variants, a lot of different companies because he was in the popular culture, he was in the public domain. You know, you can't copyright or trademark gods, as Marvel found out, I think, when they tried to do that with Thor. So anybody could write Hercules stories without being sued.
Hmm. Even AI can't give a straight answer, by the way. It says an exact number of movies featuring Hercules is difficult to determine, as the character has appeared in dozens of films across various countries and media since the 1930s. So it's hard to tell because you got to consider all the different countries. What if we just said how many
Oh,
Hollywood?
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
all the different. Okay. And Xena, didn't Hercules appear in Xena?
Well, Xena
Yeah.
Hercules first, and then Xena became its own show. But with
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Hercules, you start out with 5 movies, and then it was the first season of Hercules. Xena appeared in the first season, and then she spun off and had her own show. And half the people left Hercules to go with Xena, and there was a whole big controversy
Hmm.
at the time. And they often crossed over into each other.
And didn't one of the Shazam characters have the power of Hercules along with some other gods?
Yeah, yeah, Shazam.
S for
Oh,
Solomon,
Shazam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hercules, A for I forget who. But yeah, each one has a god. Most of them were figures from Greek mythology, except for Solomon, who was from Hebrew mythology.
Hmm. Interesting.
Like the Z is for Zeus,
Right, right.
and the other A is for Achilles. I used to know them, but I don't remember it
I
very.
think M was for Mercury for like the speed, I
Yes.
believe.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
I like Peter David, and I mourn the loss of Peter David. I got to know him for a while. I
Mm.
did a lot of stuff in Star Trek fandom. Then I tried to sell my own science fiction universe. So I met John Delancey and Peter
Hmm.
David. Both of them were very helpful. That project eventually led nowhere, but it was a lot of fun to try to
Hmm.
sell the universe to executives and stuff like that. And Peter David did a character, a Hulk character called the Maestro.
Yeah, I remember the Maestro. Yeah.
And in the latest Maestro graphic novel, which was based on a series with the Maestro, I think it was like 5 issues,
Hmm.
not too long ago, he fought the futuristic Hercules and defeated him.
That's the thing about Hercules in the Marvel comics. He's always losing because he's always taking on like even stronger people like the Hulk or Thor or
Uh-huh.
but I remember seeing that all the time.
He gives as good as he gets, and
Yeah.
with really powerful characters of a certain level, they have them win some, lose some, and
Yeah.
some are a draw, and you never quite know.
I
Uh,
remember he was always kind of like the comic relief guy.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember there was like the one famously funny interaction with him and She-Hulk, where I think she was like trying to flirt with him, and he rebuffed her advances, and I forgot what the exact details were, but
well, he slept with her during
did
uh,
he wind up sleeping with her? Oh, no, that was Wolverine. Yeah, he said,
Hacken Van Lente.
yeah, I
During their
remember.
run, he slept with She-Hulk. He slept with like most of the females in the Marvel universe. So
Yep, he was the ladies' man.
yeah, they describe
And
him dumb as a cat.
Hercules and Hercules crossed over with Aladdin. Does anybody remember that?
No, I don't remember that. What's
That
Yeah.
was in the old movies you're talking about, right?
It was a cartoon. It's where Jafar and Hades allied and trapped the heroes, leading to Aladdin and Hercules teaming up.
This was
all
the
right?
Disney Aladdin.
Um, yeah, it was a shared animated film.
Oh,
Yeah, and yeah, by the House of Mouse.
Somebody, a woman who's a romance writer, wrote a bunch of S&M novels based on the Disney characters.
hmm.
It's kind of odd. So she had Hercules and Hades and Meg and Jafar and Jasmine and all those characters in the novels.
Oh, okay. I know what Paul. I know what you're talking about now. There was a time in the late '90s when the Disney Hercules had his own cartoon series, and in
Yes.
one of the episodes there was a crossover with Aladdin.
Okay.
It was
Yes, yes.
yes. Oh, I didn't even realize that. I need to
I
go
didn't
and look
realize
that
that.
up.
I have I have access to those somewhere. I haven't seen them in years since they aired.
By the way, what did you think of the Disney Hercules?
People usually give the Hercules a hard time,
Yeah,
but however, it portrays like the Hercules with Kevin Sorbo.
yeah.
A lot of people say, "Oh, it wasn't accurate to Greek mythology." Well, it depends on what Greek mythology you're looking at. Uh,
Hmm.
with Disney's Hercules in Etruscan mythology, and the Etruscans were, uh, there during Greater Greece, and
Hmm.
on Rome took over that area. Hercules and Hera, she was his mother. She wasn't his evil stepmother. And there
Hmm.
was no ill will between them. So he was Hercules, like in the Disney movie, was a son of Hera and Zeus. And also, he didn't kill his children, which was in the Greek myths. It wasn't in the Etruscan myths. In
Yeah.
fact, Athena and Hercules were married in the Etruscan myths, and Ares was their son. So wherever you went throughout the Greek world, and the Greek world was very vast, there were different versions of the myths. So the Disney Hercules,
Oh.
even though it was not faithful to the Greek mythology that most people know, it was faithful to mythologies that other people had. So I liked it. I liked the song. I find the songs fun and inspirational.
Hmm.
I liked it when uh, Hercules and Meg and Hades appeared in Once Upon a Time, I think the series was called, that had like the Disney fairy tale characters, and they were stuck in this world. In season five, Hercules and Hades and Meg Gara were part of that. So
Mm.
I enjoyed that too. I enjoy that a lot. Why did you ask? Because a lot of people don't like the Disney Hercules.
No, it's just I just totally didn't even think about that movie until Paul brought it up, like the Disney version, and I'm like, man, kind of want to go back and watch that now. It's been a long time. I liked it when it first came out. I mean, I enjoyed it, but that was during the time when Disney could do no wrong. Do you remember that era?
Yeah.
Starting from like the original Little Mermaid up through to like Beauty and the Beast and Pocahontas, and then they finally went up to like the Hunchback, and then finally like Hercules. You know, until the Emperor's New Groove. That time period in Disney films, it was like they could do no wrong. You know, they're just knocking out of the park every movie. And that was that golden age. Yeah, I remember. And I remember looking back on that Hercules movie being like, yeah, James Wood as Hades. I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
Hey, I found out what Shazam stood for. Okay.
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 Solomon for wisdom, Hercules for strength, Atlas for stamina, Zeus for power, Ar- uh, Archilles for courage,
Achilles.
Achilles,
Achilles. Yeah.
Achilles.
Mercury for speed.
Yep.
And so, if Mercury for speed, how fast is Hercules? Uh, can he keep up with the Flash?
Probably not. He started the Olympic Games in actual mythic history.
Yeah.
Two versions of him actually are credited with starting the Olympic Games. The Aegean Dactyl, who is from Crete, he's
Mm-hmm.
credited with starting the Olympic Games, and then the Hercules of Thebes was also credited with starting the Olympic Games. So,
Hmm.
if he didn't start it, he inspired it certainly.
Well, he was also Hercules was also credited for starting the being like the forefather of the Spartans. Like they all claim to be descended from him. Yeah.
Well, the Greeks are actually a bunch of tribes. And
Yeah.
now they don't think of themselves as tribes, but in antiquity, they thought of themselves as tribes, and tribes look very different. So it's like the original people who lived there, they were very stocky and they were dusky skinned.
Mm-hmm.
They had dark hair, and then the ones that came in later on, they had blonde hair and blue eyes. So there were
Mm-hmm.
all these different tribes that later on mixed up and became, one people. But throughout the early Greek myths, they commanded different city states.
Yeah.
City states were different in a lot of different ways. So Hercules is credited with being the ancestor of the Dorian Greeks.
Mm.
And the Dorians were exiled from Greece, and then they came back in a generation or three. I don't remember exactly how many. And they were the barbarian invaders that plunged Greece into a dark age.
Mm.
So there's a lot of stories about that period. And he had some daughters too, but we don't know too much about them.
And Hercules, did did Hercules have a lot of dealings with Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman in DC Comics, yeah. According to who you, DC Comics has like Marvel, it has variant histories woven together.
Yeah.
The guy who created Wonder Woman took the myth of the belt of Hippolyta, and he had Hercules and the Greeks enslave the Amazons. And that happened in some of the myths, but in other myths, different things happen. So the whole Amazon myth is depending on which variant. In some that happened, in some Hera pretended to be an Amazon and
Mm-hmm.
roused the Amazons to just to start shooting at the Greeks. In other ones, it was a Greek who roused the animosity between the Greeks and the Amazons. Like I said, Hera also was credited with it. But that started amicably. Hercules went, the Amazons had heard about the labors. They offered to give him the belt, and they were talking about him breeding with the Amazons to strengthen their stock. And then something went terribly wrong. And some say Apollo died, some say she didn't die. There's all these variants of the myths.
Hmm.
Yeah, that story, and later on when Wonder Woman was redone during the um, Perez, Perez took that myth also and made it the foundation for his Wonder Woman tale.
So how would you break down the difference, like to a non-comic book fan? How would you break down the difference between the DC Hercules and the Marvel Hercules?
Well, the Marvel Hercules is heroic, even though it's
Hmm.
heroic in a more ancient sense, like
Hmm.
Conan is heroic, but in a way that would seem sociopathic, to us now.
Yeah.
Hercules too, and like Wonder Woman in very many ways, they have a code of heroism that is ancient. So a lot
Hmm.
of things that we would consider terrible and uncivilized to them, it was common sense, and the way things were done. And the DC Hercules is a villain most of the time. They made exceptions to this rule when he was Hercules Unbound,
Hmm.
and he played a hero in that one, and they returned him with Reunion. I think they brought that version of Hercules back.
Hmm.
There were some versions of Hercules where he was like a rogue, like when he was with Wonder Girl. They did a series of a few issues, I think, during the New 52 times.
Hmm.
Hercules was definitely a trickster and a rogue and a shapeshifter. And when he was wandering around the DC universe fighting Superman and other people, there too, he was not really a good guy, not really a bad guy, but he was not a good guy and not a bad guy.
Mm.
He was just his own type of person. So DC seems a lot more fluid in how they portray him, whereas in Marvel, even though sometimes he does messed up things, he's not really a villain. Uh,
Yeah.
even though
Did
he's
you say
done,
Hercules fought Superman?
yeah, sure, many
Yeah.
many
Yeah.
times.
Many times.
Lois Lane fell in love
This
with
guy right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lois Lane fell in love with Hercules too. In some DC things, Superman was Hercules and performed some of the labors. There's a lot of different stories about Superman and Hercules.
He's
And
like our modern day Hercules, if you think about it.
He is,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, was it a stalemate with Hercules fighting Superman?
No, I think Superman would usually win.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I remember too.
Yeah. But
Superman.
then Zeus would come along and kick Superman's ass because it's Zeus. Yeah.
And when Thor fought Hercules, who
They would usually that was a little bit closer and because that's the Marvel version.
Right.
And it's interesting so here's the thing for DC, I feel like Hercules was more of a background character to build up the Wonder Woman mythos because a lot of her origin, like Themyscira and the Amazonians, is very steeped in Greek mythology. So
Yes.
they're going to have a lot of Greek characters in those Wonder Woman background stories, right? Kind of like how Batman's got all those Gotham, in Gotham City, he's got all his whole pantheon of villains. Not to say that Hercules is necessarily a villain in DC, but I feel like he's a foil to Wonder Woman almost in a lot of stories. Whereas,
Yeah, even when he was champion and he wound up dating Wonder Woman, I think
yeah,
for a brief period of time, he was more foiled than a bad guy. He was pretending to be a good guy, but
I wouldn't say a villain. I'd say more of a foil. It's
yeah,
yeah.
that's more accurate.
Whereas with Hercules and Thor, I feel like it's more of like they're kind of like buddies, but sometimes rivals. But a lot of times they're buddies. I think the way they showed him in that recent Love and Thunder movie, when they finally did show Hercules in that, like he was kind of like a comic relief, but he was always like Thor's. And they showed the Hercules in the What If series, right, where he was like a buddy of Thor, like an old pal, when Thor would throw a party behind his parents' back, or Hercules would
Did
show up
they?
with the beers.
I must have missed that. Was it in third season or?
It was the one where Thor does the party. I believe like Hercules shows up, like Loki shows up, like everybody shows up, right?
Uh-huh.
So I mean, but I think that's a lot of it, right? Like, yeah, they have fights, right? Hercules does fight Thor, obviously, because they're both gods. But I don't know. It's kind of like a good buddies, bitter rivals kind of relationship.
Yeah,
Whereas he's not
frenemies.
necessarily like a foil for Thor, like he is for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, they're frenemies.
Yeah,
Sometimes
frenemies. That's the word I'm using.
sometimes they're friends, sometimes they're foes, sometimes they're in between. Their first meeting was, they had this epic battle over who goes over a log that's blocking a stream first. And they have this epic battle, and then Zeus has to intervene and
Yeah,
kneel to Zeus, and uh, Thor goes back to the Asgardian realms, and he decides not to tell Loki about Olympus because he's concerned with what Loki would do if he knew the secret to where the Greek gods were.
yeah.
I remember as a kid, I used to love the Three Stooges. And the Three Stooges in 1962 actually met Hercules.
Yes,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I just posted on that yesterday in my Sword and Sandal Cinema group. I put the pictures from that.
yeah.
Hmm.
The Three Stooges, they meet everybody. They even
Yeah.
met Scooby Doo.
Hercules is not a good guy there either, but he becomes a good guy.
Hmm.
By the end of the film, he somebody else started building that heroic reputation, so Hercules assumes it and carries it on into the future.
And not only that, Hercules is a world traveler. Hercules against the barbarians in 1964. Hercules was going against the Mongols.
Well, those
Hmm.
movies were how things were in antique times. Like we were talking about Samson earlier before we started the show.
Yeah.
The name of the hero was different from place to place. So he could have been Samson for the Hebrews. He was
Hmm.
Iraklis for the Greeks. He was Ercole, for the Etruscans. He was Ecole for the Romans. He was Melkart for the Phoenicians. He was, Thor or Donar or Thunar for the people up north. He was all these different names, but the stories were very similar, sometimes even the same. And
Do you think there's a strong argument to be made that Hercules and Thor are in fact the same individual?
well, the hammer of Thor evolved from the club of Hercules. They've shown that.
Hmm.
They've shown how the club of Hercules over time in the north evolved into the hammer of Thor. They've shown the amulets over
Oh, you mean as like a symbol for him? Okay.
yeah, so the symbol's tied over there. Um,
Huh.
and the Peplum films, Sword and Sandal films, depending on
Hmm.
what country they were shown in, the hero could be Hercules, it could be Ursus, it could be Machiste, it could be Atlas, depending on whatever was popular there, that's what the hero's name would be. So just because we saw a movie that says Hercules and the Barbarians doesn't mean that that was Hercules elsewhere in the world. It could have been Samson and the Barbarians. All of those films have different titles.
Hmm.
And
And
Hercules, you're totally correct on that, because Revenge of Hercules, which was put out in 1960, was also known as Goliath and the Dragon, and
yes,
it was not a Hercules film.
Hmm.
except for where it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it was something else somewhere else, and there's I have a whole bookshelf on those type of things too, those movies and the posters and how they were sold and marketed and so forth. But so I believe the same thing happened in antiquity, where these heroes were cut of the same cloth, and they were acculturated to the people listening to the stories to make them more appealing. So
Hmm.
sometimes because the tales are so similar, they had to have heard them from each other. It's not that big an area. If you look at the whole Near East and the Mediterranean, and there was a lot of commerce going back and forth, and an exchange of ideas. So these stories were told by professional storytellers who borrowed heavily. Some scholars even believe that Gilgamesh was an earlier variant of the Hercules myth.
Oh my god! And it seems like the movie producers would just throw in the name Hercules just to get an audience. Like
Yes.
Hercules and the
Yeah.
Treasure of the Incas was also known as Lost Treasure of the Aztecs, and it was
Right.
not a Hercules film. So that's really amazing.
It's like he's the world's first superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of books. One of them is a children's book that's called Hercules, the world's first superhero, and then there's a scholarly book that has the same title, Hercules, the first superhero.
Hmm.
I just posted that like a week ago, too, on my Sword and Sandal Cinema site.
Did you like Dwayne Johnson as Hercules?
I did.
Do you like Kevin Sorbo as Hercules?
I like Kevin Sorbo's Hercules, but I don't currently like Kevin Sorbo for some of his ideas that he spreads. So I don't agree with him there, but I liked his Hercules.
And did Arnold Schwarzenegger ever play Hercules?
Hercules in New York.
Hercules in New York, also
Yeah.
known as Hercules Goes Bananas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And in one of them he was dubbed, and the other one he wasn't dubbed, and he went by Arnold Schwarzenegger and won the other one Arnold Strong.
Then that means I actually met Hercules then, because I met Arnold Schwarzenegger on the filming of True Lies at the
Oh, great.
Mayfair Hotel in Los Angeles. And then later on, I was working as Secretary of State, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he was the governor of California, loved using our conference room. So I met him 3 times as Secretary of State and shook his hand.
Awesome. I never met him. I've met people who knew him. I met people who worked out with him or who knew him when he first came to New York, and I never met him. How about you? Have you met?
Actually, I did meet him once at
Awesome.
of all the places I met him at an airport in South Korea.
Oh, wow.
I literally turned a corner and he was there, like coming out of his SUV.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, Arnold, love your movie." He shook his hand. I think he was surprised I spoke English because this was Korea, so he didn't expect anyone to speak English. But yeah, I remember meeting him. I was shocked.
Did he say Yobo Seo?
No, I mean he was just. I think he was there promoting. He was there with a bunch of people. I think they were like his family and his little entourage. I think he was there promoting a movie. This was 2015. I forgot which movie he was promoting though.
It wasn't Incheon.
No, it was Incheon Airport. That was like the main international airport going out of South Korea.
Because I was an extra in Incheon when I was in South Korea in the army. Yeah, I got to be an extra in Incheon. And
Nice.
then I was an extra in a couple other Korean movies. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. A whole new dimension to you. We explored with it. We have to talk to you about that one day.
Oh my god. Yep.
Has Hulk Hogan ever played Hercules? I want to feel like I feel like he has.
He played Zeus.
Did he play Zeus?
Yeah, he played Zeus. There was I forget what the movie was called, but it was the young Hercules. There was a kid who had muscles, and he was called Young Hercules.
Mm-hmm.
He was Hercules, and he was like a kid, and he wound up in our world going to school. But Hulk Hogan played Zeus in the movie.
Oh.
And Hulk Hogan had a TV show. I forget what it was called, but it lasted for a few seasons with his family. In one of the seasons, they dealt with the making of that Hercules movie.
That's interesting.
I never even heard of that. I gotta look that one up.
He made a better Zeus than I thought he'd make.
I know he beat up Rocky.
Yes, in the Rocky movie.
Now there was a young Hercules series in
that was
the
something
90s.
else. Yeah, that was another series. That was with that was an offshoot of Hercules' Legendary Journeys with Kevin Sorbo.
Yes. And guess who played young Hercules? Do you know who it was?
No.
Yes.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, he was the second player. Somebody else played it before him. Bolin, I think his name is.
Yeah. Ryan Gosling.
Hercules, do you get a lot of people to say that you look like Hercules?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, even my sister, she went somewhere and there were statues, and she goes, one of them looked exactly like me.
Oh, that's
Well,
cool.
I'm indirectly descended from him. I'm part Dorian, and the Dorians were the sons of Hercules.
Hmm.
And also, I'm a Lemnian. Lemnos is the island where the Argonauts landed, with all the warrior women were the Amazons.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so I'm descendant of Argonauts and Amazons, according to the mythologies.
So you have Hercules DNA.
So the story goes.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
But if not, I was inspired and seek to embody as much as I can of my favorite hero. The better parts of it, not the bad parts.
Yeah, not the bad parts. Yeah.
If Marvel makes another Avenger movie, which they should be making,
Yeah, they're making two.
Yeah.
okay, you think Hercules will be in it?
Well, he
I
was
don't
in Love and Thunder and
briefly.
Zeus.
I
Zeus.
think he's if they make another Thor movie, I think he's more likely to show up in that.
They were supposed to make a mini series on
Yeah.
Disney Plus, but they didn't do that. And some people were saying that Thor 5 was going to be set in the heavens, and it's going to recruit people from Valhalla and other places. And said they were
Hmm.
saying that Hercules and Thor would be fighting and become friends by the end of the movie. But again, these are people's opinions and speculation,
Yeah.
rumors. So I'll believe it when I see it.
What's your most favorite Hercules movie?
Um, my favorite, there's so many of them that are my favorites. I like the one where he fights the Moon Men.
Oh, the
Hercules versus the
Moon
Moon
Man.
Man.
Yeah, Hercules against the
Yes,
Moon Men. It's like science fiction, and he made a couple of They made a couple of Atlantis movies, and Sorbo had on his TV show. He went to Atlantis too. The Atlantis ones were very science fictiony also, so I like those as well.
that was an Italian movie. The Hercules against the Moon Men.
Yes, and Alan Steele or Sergio Chiani, which is his real name, he plays Hercules, and he's the one that said is my favorite because of his exuberance at playing the role. He's not the biggest, but he's the most exuberant.
Hmm.
Steve Reeves was the Steve Reeves made the cookie cutter mold,
Hmm.
and everybody kind of copied Steve Reeves, but I find Steve Reeves very wooden in his
Hmm.
portrayal of Hercules. And Reg Park was huge. He looked the part. He looked like a god, in human flesh. Um, but he played it like too lightly. It's like I'm the mightiest person in the world. I don't give a fuck,
Hmm.
and he had that like light attitude. Every now and then he complained to the gods, but mostly it was just he walked his way through the movies.
And I'd say probably the biggest person to play Hercules was Lou Ferrigno.
Yes,
Yeah, he was huge in that movie. I remember.
yeah, I like those movies too. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't like those movies, but I like the mixing of science fiction and
Yeah.
mythology.
Like Arnold was huge, especially if you watch this Hercules in New York movie or whatever. That was probably the biggest Arnold has ever looked in any of his films.
Hmm.
But at the same time, like Arnold is not particularly tall. Like when I met him, I was like, oh, I was actually surprised. He's only like what,
Yeah,
6 foot? He's
yeah,
not,
he's yeah, he's a short guy.
yeah, he's not that. I mean, he's not short, but he's not
Short,
like,
He's
short.
not as
he's
big
not
as you expect.
towering, right? I remember the first thing I thought when I saw Arnold at that airport, I was like, oh, he's the same height as my dad. Damn. My dad's like 5'10, 5'11. So I mean, he's not like a Sylvester Stallone or Tom Cruise, like tiny, short, but he was not nearly as tall as I thought he would be. Lou Ferrigno, I think, is like 6'4" or something like that.
Yeah, I've
He's
met.
tall.
No, I've never met Arnold, but people have said that Arnold's not as tall as he looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arnold's yeah, he's short.
That he's a regular sized guy, but Lou Ferrigno was towering, and Lou Ferrigno
Yeah.
stayed big
Yeah.
throughout
Well,
his
Well,
career.
that's why they had him as the Incredible Hulk, because he was
Yeah,
actually like he had the height and the build. If I had to, who would you choose to play Hercules if they had to make a movie now?
oh God, that's a difficult question. I don't know. I need to
Tom
think.
Cruise. No, I'm just kidding.
Who would you pick?
Hey, Tom Cruise is a short guy, and you know, when I watched Tom Cruise in Jack Reacher, it really upset me because
Yeah, Jack Reacher's supposed to be a big guy.
yeah, he's supposed to be a big guy, and
Yeah.
that made me so mad to see Tom Cruise in that role.
Actually, now that you bring it up, I think that the Amazon TV show Jack Reacher, that actor, Alan was a Rickman or whatever,
Yeah.
that guy could play a Hercules. That
Oh yeah,
guy, that's a big boy right there.
that's a big boy.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah, he would be a perfect
He could
Hercules.
play Hercules. I think
Yeah.
another good choice, I think, would be the guy who played the mountain in Game of Thrones.
Oh, he's
Oh
fast.
man,
He's
that's
huge.
you're
He
right.
is monstrously big. Yeah.
Man, that guy is a monster.
Yeah, him playing Hercules would be like when I forget what his name is. There was some guy. He was a big guy, and he played in the Hallmark version of Hercules and the Argonauts with Jason and the Argonauts.
Yeah.
Brian something. His name is Brian.
Hmm.
I don't remember, but he was a big Hercules. I could see the mountain playing that type of Hercules. It's like almost monstrous.
Yeah. And then, like, if you like earlier backstage, I brought up God of War 3, like the most
Uh,
famous example of Hercules in a video game that was voiced by Kevin Sorbo. That Hercules was like 15 feet tall. They made him like cartoonishly big.
like a Nephilim, huh?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Well, there's in modern theosophy,
Hmm.
especially in the neo-theosophies that sprang out of the like I am movement and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Hercules is the most powerful of the Elohim,
Mm.
and he created this solar system with the other Elohim that he called, some of which are based on Greek mythological characters, and others which are based on other mythological characters, and some that seem to have been invented by the early neo-theosophists.
Or
So
they would just kind of slap the names on them.
yeah,
Yeah.
I teach that in one of my classes. You know,
Mm.
this whole thing, like the adventures of the gods never ended, and they don't only continue in like popular culture, like in comic books and movies and things like that. If you look at even religions and faith, you find that a lot of these characters from the myths are still popping up, and not
Yeah.
just in paganism or Wicca, but in other like religions you probably never heard of,
Yeah.
still active figures in these religions. There was a religion too that came from the East. I don't remember, but they started making their own cartoons.
Hmm.
And Hermes and some of the other Greek gods were very prominent in their pantheon as well. I tracked down
Mm.
some cartoons. I have them, but not handy, and I haven't seen them in a very long time.
Hmm.
And Hercules in the neo-theosophical traditions, because they communicate with him. And he tells them that the myths are corruptions of the truths that he lived. So the myths are kind of like ill-remembered, ill-told versions of what actually happens.
Does
I could see
anybody
that.
does anybody remember Champions? It was back in the 1970s, and Hercules he co-founded the Champions,
Yes,
a short-lived team of heroes that
Hmm.
included Black Widow, Ghost Rider, Iceman, and Angel.
and he slept with Black Widow. We found out later during his funeral, during the Pac and Valente things,
Mm.
during the Champion days. Uh,
What a random
they,
collection of heroes.
they fought Godzilla too. I
They
have
fought Godzilla.
Yeah, I have the champions. I was looking through them not too long ago, so I have them all in a pile over there.
Hmm.
Yeah, they fought Godzilla.
Why Iceman though? Of all the people to add in that team.
I know.
Well, they had
Yeah.
Iceman and Ghost Rider, so they had Fire
Yeah.
and Ice. They had
Fire and Ice.
yeah, they had the Black Widow, and who else do they have?
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, they have Black Widow, Ghost Rider, Iceman, and Angel.
Yeah,
Angel.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Angel had the money. I remember. I seem to remember, and
Yeah.
that started out in Greek mythology too. Hercules was supposed to marry Hippolyta, I think, or something,
Hmm.
tricked into having to marry, and Somebody else had to marry someone else, and there was this whole big subplot. And that's how the champions came together.
Hmm.
Yeah, these stories, we talked about it briefly during other episodes not too long ago, that the comic book stuff winds up in the scholarly stuff.
Hmm.
People who grew up on the comics, some of them seek the older versions of myths, and
Yeah.
when they write about them or do something with them, sometimes they'll sneak in a Marvel thing in there.
Hmm.
So I remember reading a book that was an instructional book, and they had Thor with the helmet with the wings.
Yeah.
That's from Marvel. That didn't exist, prior to Marvel putting that hat on them.
Yeah. I could see that.
And I've come across many informational books too, where Loki is Thor's brother, and that's not from the myths either.
Oh, that's not.
No, no.
Oh.
Loki was a friend of Odin's,
Hmm.
and they would wander just like Zeus and Hermes would wander around, visiting different people and seeing how they were treated as gods. In
Yeah.
Norse mythology, Loki and Odin did that, and they have
Hmm.
all these adventures together.
And Disney is remaking a live action remake of Hercules.
Yes, I saw pictures of that. But is it still happening? Because they've been talking about that for a while.
They said that Joe and Anthony Russo are still producing, and Guy Ritchie.
Oh, that should be interesting.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
should be interesting.
Of all the live action remakes Disney's been making, I'd be interested in seeing that one. I was not particularly interested in the other ones, but that
Just
I
in
would
that.
be interested. To see what they do. I bet you they keep the singing though.
yeah.
Yeah, they're going to keep the singing.
Oh my god.
And Disney
Yeah,
now owns Marvel's version too. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true.
yeah, there was a lot of speculation as to whether Disney would kill the Marvel Hercules because it would be in direct competition with their Hercules. But I didn't think that would happen.
Hmm.
I just
yeah,
think Hercules would
and
stay.
Hercules is in the Disney universe and in the Marvel universe.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
many other universes besides.
Oh yeah, and other universes. Yeah, the multiverse. Yeah. But as a young kid though, when went back to DC Hercules, that used to really mess with my head when I was a little kid. I was going, God, Hercules don't have red hair. And then I would pick up a Marvel comic and there's Hercules. I go, that's the Hercules I know. This guy
Hmm.
is an imposter. But then now that I'm older, it's a variant. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Different interpretation. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
like I based my life on Hercules. I'm not like any of the other Hercules. I got my own way of being Hercules. I'm the Hercules who's here doing this right now. And some of the things like when I was older, I used to lift weights and I used to investigate the paranormal more aggressively and do stuff
Hmm.
like that. Those are all part of living out the myth. But I'm a version too, you could say.
Hmm. You went through your own labors.
Yeah, I still go through labors. I look at my life like labors. Like
Yeah.
even like I have diabetes, and diabetes is, I don't know if you know a lot about diabetes, that can kill you.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
My family has a history with it too. Yeah.
and with the diabetes, there's like a million different heads, and once you control one head, you think that that's it, but no, it turns out that the head was a symptom rather than the cause. So you have to find what the immortal head is, and for some people, it's controlling your sugar. For others, it's something else. And the heads grow back. So you might get rid of something and
Hmm.
it'll pop up in other sets of symptoms,
Just like the Hydra.
just like the Hydra. So
Yeah.
diabetes is my Hydra. The Parkinson's disease is like Ladon, who was the serpent with 100 heads that guarded the tree in the Garden of the Hesperides.
Yeah.
That had 100 heads, and the 100 heads each spoke differently, but at the same time. So if you try to get information on Parkinson's disease and talking to the experts, you're not getting any consistent information. It's all
Hmm.
inconsistent. It's all different things. So all these
Hmm.
people who are experts, all these people who are doctors, all these people who are this and that, talking at the same time about what it is, and there's no very little agreement. And that's in nutrition too. Like how much protein do we need?
Hmm.
We don't really know. We have doctors with degrees and um, belonging to prestigious organizations and being well published, all claiming different things. So that's like the character of Lavan in mythology. So that's how I
Hmm.
my life, and that's part of the way that I embody the myth. And it I'm not saying that how I'm living, everyone has to live that way, but it's how I chose as a free human being to live my life. So,
Or to, yeah, or how you choose to interpret those events. Yeah.
yeah, so it's not a right or wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's not this is the
So
only.
then let me ask you, what is your equivalent of the labor of cleaning out the stable?
I'm a pack rat.
Okay.
So I have, and we used to have a store, a bookstore, which we don't have anymore. So
Yeah.
in our house, we have all these books. I could open up another store just with the books I want to get rid of. So that's the never-ending task. That's the years and years and years of accumulation.
You must have so many books.
Yes, I do, and a lot of comics and a lot of video games, and
Mm-hmm.
used to sell video games. So to me, that's one of the Augean stables.
Mm.
Other Augean stable myth that I've incorporated is with my diet.
Mm.
Because some food will build up in some substances in food will build up in your body and poison your body
Mm.
and cause cancers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Watching my diet and keeping as clean a diet as I can, that's another Augean stable. And instead of using rivers to clean myself, I'm using water, drinking a lot of water and
Yeah.
not drinking soda and not drinking things that could clog up my veins or my blood vessels or things like that.
Yeah.
So I have different things. Not everything is just one thing. I'm always performing the labors. Sometimes one labor more than other labors. The lion, because he wears like a skin, that's my presentation into the world. Right now,
Mm.
I'm not very active in the world as much as I used to be because of the Parkinson's, but I'm still fairly well known. People know that I'm
Yeah.
Hercules, and that happens all the time. People even don't know me that know that there's a Hercules know that I'm Hercules when they see me, and they'll say something, and I appear into the world in a certain way. Even though I have the Parkinson's, I'm still doing things in the world.
Yeah.
Now, what I could do before, I can't do it right now. That's my challenge right now, but I can still do other things. So that's how the lion is, and so on and so forth. And there's also lessons, like a lot of things don't belong to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things that you can get can cause trouble if they remain with humanity, like the golden apples. So
Mm.
some information, especially if you're seeking to understand your mind better and your inner self better, some information is dangerous to give to people. Like, I'll give you an example of the law of attraction. A lot of good things happen because people play with that.
Mm-hmm.
You can focus on a goal, you can set your energies and focus them to make things happen. But people also use the manipulative aspects of things like that to manipulate people. If you
Mm.
advertising, there's a lot of really old occult information in advertising and marketing that's used to sway people to do things that maybe they shouldn't be doing. So anyway, that's how I play with reality, and I enjoy it. And
Yeah, no, I respect that actually. Um, building your life around an archetype,
mhm.
right? Yeah, I get that. I've done something similar in my life as well. Um,
Which archetypes do you gravitate towards?
um, when I was come getting out of college as a young man, my archetype I tried to base myself around was Musashi, the Book of
Oh,
Five Rings.
Musashi, yes.
Yeah. Um, and Zen Buddhism, and then just ultimately Buddhism. Especially when I get involved in the paranormal, like you kind of need that. You sometimes I feel like you need that archetype to focus on to keep yourself grounded mentally and
Mhm.
spiritually. Because when you're out there investigating and you're facing some of these things, you really got to have your head on right.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do, because they can manipulate your mind. You start feeling things that aren't you, but you can't. It's hard to tell
Yeah.
apart from your own feelings. There's all sorts of stuff, compulsions.
I call it a spiritual foundation.
That is awesome. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do a show just on that. I'm inviting you back just to talk about that.
Yeah.
And Paul's
Hey,
got a bunch of
Don,
archetypes.
Donny Cho, this is South Korean. What does it say?
That is not Korean. That is I think that's Chinese.
Oh, it's Chinese. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm drinking this
Yeah.
Chinese tea.
Green tea.
Yes, and also too, um, uh, talking about Greek mythology, it's so amazing how many comic book characters somehow connect to Greek mythology.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This character right here, Bone, he Hercules was talking about Hydra. Well, this character met Hydra and was chopping off the heads. And then you have this guy. Let me pull it over here. These guys met Medusa.
Hmm.
And who are they? I can't see them.
That's Scooby Doo.
Oh, Scooby Doo. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I was going to ask Hercules, where is John Peep?
He had a family emergency today. He
Oh,
contacted
okay.
me, so I told him,
Hmm.
"Don't worry about it. Just take care of your family emergency."
Yep, yep.
He's got to do what he's got to do. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Life intrudes, and ultimately, eventually, when you're lying in that bed and not getting up, it'll be better if you attended the important things in your life than if you
Yeah.
did something because you had an obligation.
And when you get older, time goes by so fast.
That's just a
Right.
fraction. The time shrinks because
Yeah.
if you're a baby, 1 year is like your whole lifetime or half your lifetime.
Yeah.
If you're in your 60s, 1 year is like a 60th of your lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's incrementally much smaller. So it feels like it speeds up. Yeah, I wonder what happened to everything past when I was in my early 20s sometimes. It's like, it's like 40, that was 40 years ago. That was 50 years ago. I saw this television show. Uh, it's really fascinating. Do you guys do dream and altered state type of things also?
I mean, if I have a very unusual dream, I might record it. I might write about it, but that's about it.
Do you seek to like to be lucid in your dreams, or do you seek to incubate your dreams? Because for a paranormal researcher, that's it's like a holiday,
Hmm.
because you will encounter things in dreams that are difficult to explain in mundane terms, or even if you believe that your mind is creating it only,
Hmm.
because you get all sorts of synchronistic things that happen in dreams, and things you forgot from long, long time ago pop up in dreams. Dream characters will give you information that's very relevant to what you're doing now. And there's all sorts of states. It's not just being awake and dreaming. There's all sorts of liminal states like the hypnagogic and the hypnopompic state.
Hmm.
And that's where a lot of religious visions and paranormal experiences take place.
Yeah.
So I started writing. I think my last two submissions for Tim Schwartz had to do with my astral experiences. And so, as I'm less able to do things out in the world, I'm using the fact that anybody can fall asleep and anybody can dream, and to start exploring that and writing about that. And this way, I can have exciting adventures without leaving my house.
Hmm. I used to lucid dream a lot before. Not much, not anymore these days, but it's because the way I sleep is so particular because I'm a single guy, I sleep alone. So when I do sleep, I usually have either a space documentary on or a documentary about like prehistory, like dinosaurs or prehistoric animals, and I'll have that run in the background when I fall asleep. So usually when I have a dream, it kind of like bleeds into my dream. I
Immersion
Yeah.
is one of the ways where you could incubate dreams. So
Yeah.
if you like binge watch something, or if you watch a lot of something or read
Yeah.
something, that'll definitely wind up in your dream.
Yeah. Majority of my dreams are usually me traveling or me being back in Korea though, for some reason. I don't know what that's about, but that's like every night.
And when I dream that I'm in an unfamiliar city and I'm walking around and I'm
Hmm.
not familiar with it. Another dream that I have, and this actually happened to me. Um, I parked my car in downtown Sacramento,
Hmm.
but I forgot where I parked it at. So I'm walking on every street looking for my car, and that actually happened to me. Um, and it'll never happen to me again because every time I park my car, I look at the street sign and go, okay, this is where I'm at. Um, and I'll take a picture of it too. Um, and it took me 3 hours to find my car. And I was exhausted walking up and down different streets looking for my car in downtown Sacramento.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm inviting you guys. Well, I'm already in the habit of inviting Paul back, but I'm gonna include you on my list, Donnie, if you're interested. We cover topics that are paranormal all the time on my
Okay.
channel. So right now, like we have UFO entity Enigma. That's been going on for years, and before that, it was going on for years on Block Talk Radio, which unfortunately doesn't exist now. And I didn't know how to save the file, so that's
Hmm.
the ethers now. Uh,
Oh man.
but we look at every month a different part of the UFO phenomenon, especially the intelligence behind it.
Yeah.
So we recently did our UFOs living creatures, and we looked at that. We've done the Venusians. We've done uh,
Nice.
yeah, so every month we do a different one of those. I just started again my cryptid show, which
Hmm.
I'm calling Mythical Monsters, Creepy Cryptids, and uh,
I do paranormal cryptid shows every week with my people. I'm running a group of friends who are all podcasters and showrunners who do their own cryptid paranormal talk shows. So yeah, we should link up.
yeah, definitely, I would enjoy
Yeah.
that. So I'll keep you posted. If you're free for anything you're interested, you're more than welcome to come. And we passed our time today. I was enjoying myself so much.
Yeah.
I want to thank you both. This was a great conversation. I'm glad at the opportunity to get to know you both a little bit better. Now, how can people find you and tap into the universes that you make accessible through your podcasting?
Paul, you want to go ahead?
Okay. Very simple. Google or Bing me, Paul Dale Roberts. If you want to see some of my books, Paul Dale Roberts books. Simple as that.
Cool.
And Donnie?
I'm on YouTube. My channel is called Donny Cho Says Stuff. You can just type it
All
into
right.
your YouTube search engine. You'll find me there.
Thank you very much. I wish you success in all your endeavors, be they in popular culture and paranormal exploration or anything else you set your minds to. Thank you again for a wonderful conversation and have a wonderful night and a wonderful weekend.
Great.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.